everyone. It's Elizabeth from Elpis Astrology at elpisastrology.com. Thanks for joining me today. So today, this video is going to be about my take on the August 2023 astrology. So we've got 2 full moons this month, which is unusual, and 1 new moon. And we also have the sun going into Leo, which of course is where we've got our ongoing Venus retrograde. I want to say a big shout out to my brother John. It was his birthday a short while ago. I missed giving this greetings to him in my July video, so happy birthday. All right, so we start off on the 1st of August here with a full moon in Aquarius. It'll be at 11:31 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time, and it will be at 9 Aquarius 15 minutes. And of course, because it's a full moon, the sun will be in the opposite sign, which is Leo. So the sun will be at 9 Leo 15 minutes. So when we look at Aquarius, it tends to be a neutral sign from the standpoint that it's not a big emotional thing. It does, though, like its independence and is willing to fight for freedom. It's all about humanitarian causes, for instance, scientific things as well. And really just being, in many ways, independent and free from the fetters of emotional things, just generally speaking. So at this full moon, something's going to come to light. Something is going to end. A culmination of some sort may happen. So what we have is Mercury and the Mars is going to be at this time in Virgo. So this says to me, fighting words, or at the very least, energy, that's Mars, being put into thoughts, into writing, or into communicating. So it looks like this type of setup would be a good time to analyze data and information. Now, Mercury itself will be exactly opposite Saturn. So this says to me some kind of opposition, literally, or challenges from those folks that, are the keeper of the rules and the regulations. We've got Mars trine Jupiter exactly, and so this is fortunate action. And then Pluto, of course, is the final degrees of Capricorn. It will be squaring those newly minted north nodes in Aries at 29 degrees. So I think this is really, to me, I got this feeling of this ushering in of this energy right at the beginning of August. And I think this whole month of August, by the way, is going to be, I think, very emotional. And it doesn't mean it's going to be emotional, bad emotional, but with the 2 full moons, and the fact that we've got a new moon in Leo and lots of Leo stuff happening, we speak of drama to some extent as well. And not all drama has to be bad either. So that's what I get. The beginning of August is like this whoosh of air. Now, if we think of it, Aquarius is an air sign too, right? And it's electrified air. That's what I'm getting here. Certainly with Pluto squaring the north nodes, it says to me that some folks in power don't want to let others, like the collective, be independent and have their own say, especially when we've got the tie-in here of Mercury very much and then Mars giving it energy. It says to me, I think that there are going to be a lot of people speaking out about humanitarian causes. And if we're lucky, that whole Mars trine Jupiter, especially with Jupiter represents foreign nations, we will have some fortunate action happen for those that are in some kind of humanitarian crisis. So this is going to be followed up by the 10th of August, where our Venus retrograde in Leo will be squaring Uranus at 22 degrees of Leo and Taurus. So this is kind of a little bit of a, it could be breakups for some folks. It could have some unexpected information come in regarding what? Regarding relationships, a love, But it can also have something to do with money too. So there may be some kind of unexpected shakeup with regards to some of our money systems that are out there right now. I got a feeling more with that because Taurus is involved with the Uranus, and then Leo, of course, is with the Venus part of it. But this could just be some kind of information comes to light with regards to love, money, and of course our values too, right? And at a more superficial level, it's this challenge to what we think is beautiful. On the 13th of August, we have that sun, and don't forget, the sun is the ruler of Leo. So the sun is important to watch when we're talking about this whole Venus retrograde in Leo too. So that sun's going to be conjunct Venus retrograde. And I would say that's a significant day. So if you have anything in Leo, I would say, now this is going to be around the 21 degree mark of Leo. This is going to occur. So if you have something around that, so let's say 19 to 23 degrees of Leo, you may have some unexpected things happen to you here. And again, I go back to that, well, what does Venus represent? But this is a little more personal when we have the sun, the ruler of Leo, conjuncting that Venus retrograde in Leo. But money, our values, maybe your values are going to be shaken up. Maybe you're going to realize that you're not valuing yourself enough. Maybe you're not valuing yourself in some emotional relationships of some sort. But it can be your money too, and it can be all these things. Love, money, and values, they could all be up here for some kind of big illumination, right? And, for others, this could turn out to be a very favorable day to meet someone and fall in love. The sun, ruler of Leo, in Leo, conjunct Venus retrograde. I know it's a retrograde, and we tend to think of retrogrades not a good time to start something. Well, maybe it isn't a good time to have something solidify, but maybe you're going to have the spark there, and you have to go through a process during the summer of 2023, maybe right the way through September, October, where we'll still have Venus in Leo before things actually start to take some kind of shape, and maybe you can see a future with this relationship. On the 16th of August, we have our new moon in Leo. So happy new year to all you Leos. It'll be at 2:38 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time, and it will be at 23 degrees of Leo, 17 minutes. Now, what's interesting at this moon is that this conjuncts Madonna's own sun. So I think that this is going to mark for Madonna a new start. Maybe this will be the day, or around these days, she'll make the announcements of when her tour is actually going to, for sure, go on. Or maybe she's just going to take a whole new look at her life. But I'm telling you that this sets her up for a whole year of new starts. So good luck to her. Leo, as a sign, of course, is very much a sign about heart love, right? It rules the heart. The sun rules Leo. The sun is the center of our solar system, so it is the most important luminary out there. So this could be a really good time for some folks. I'm thinking especially Leos, just generally speaking, even if it's not conjunct this new moon, that because we have so much in Leo, there could be a very nice activation for a lot of Leos this year. Maybe that have been suffering from the squares that we've had ongoing too. But new starts, I got this feeling of really new starts here. And of course, this could be new starts for those folks who want to set up their own business. It could be new starts, say if somebody wants to get pregnant, because the whole Leo vibe rules these areas, right? So children, your own business, any kind of creative endeavors could be fantastic at this time. A good date to note here, right? So again, that's the 16th of August. Now, we will have the sun and the moon square Uranus. And so I think even though there's a lot of positiveness around this new moon in Leo, there could be sudden meltdowns in communications. Don't forget, Uranus is the higher octave of Mercury. So we're talking about communications and more electrified communications. Now, all over the planet, we're having all these heat waves and abnormal temperatures along with other types of weather conditions. So this might be some meltdown of some of the electrical grids that are being overused right now. We have Mercury will be conjuncting Mars at this time. And so I saw this as a great time, this new moon, to have some real focused work. I mean, Virgo is all about paying attention to the details, but not just details to do it. It likes to sort out what are important details. So if you've got some very particular work where you've got to pick out the right details, get the right data and the right information, this new moon could be great for that. We also have Venus retrograde trining Chiron. And I thought this is really nice too. To me, this says, say there are some folks that have a love come back into their lives, but you really don't want to pursue anything. This whole setup of the trine can give kind of like a healing balm, B-A-L-M, to maybe some past hurts. That type of thing can come in the trines are very favorable, very easy. So that's what I saw here, was that type of thing. Or just making things better where there was a hurt before, especially as it applies to anything to do with love. Okay, on the 17th of August, we have that Sun, which rules Leo, is also going to be squaring Uranus. And that's going to be at 23 degrees of Leo Taurus. And so this is definitely some kind of shakeup. Now, the shakeup could come to things like royalty. There could be some kind of big shakeups, maybe in more than one different area. It rules drama and that type of thing. So we could talk about our royalty of the Hollywood royalty could have some major shakeups of some sort here. I mean, there's an ongoing writers' strike as well as other things going on in Hollywood. So this may just be another point where things boil up to the surface. And so this might be some real protests going on. On the 20th of August, that Sun in Leo will be nicely, though, trine the North Nodes in Aries. So the 20th of August follows on that heels of the square with Uranus. And so this is going to bring a solution for the destiny path. So again, going back to any kind of disruption that might happen around the 17th or unexpected surprises that aren't necessarily pleasant, we could, a few days later, have some favorable energy in here that helps you set on a path for your destiny that lets you be independent, but supports you at the same time. And I see this actually playing out in the whole Hollywood thing that's going on right now. All right, so on the 23rd of August, we have another retrograde. It's going to be Mercury going retrograde, and it will go retrograde at 21 degrees of Virgo till the 15th of September, where it'll go direct at 8 Virgo. So heads up for those Virgos. Mercury does rule your sign. It also rules Gemini too. But in particular, the Virgos, there's a combination of things when it affects you directly, Virgo. It could mean that you have to go back and look at data or information that has to be revised. You could have somebody come back to you from the past. Maybe a project was rejected and now it's coming back in again to be revised and brought back up again for some new reason of some sort. Or you just decide you want to go back on something and revise some of the data that you have or information that you collected in the past over that time period, from the 23rd of August to the 15th of September. But it isn't probably a good time to sign contracts if you can avoid it. But if it's something you had already set in motion prior to the retrograde, usually those things turn out fine. I didn't mention the day before this, on the 22nd of August, we have Venus retrograde squaring Jupiter. at 15 Leo and Taurus. And this is the second time this happens. Now, I don't really see this square as being bad or unfavorable. I think what this is going to bring in is maybe some tension with regards to some kind of Venus-related thing that might be going on in your life, and that may be a love relationship. It can have something to do with money as well. And in that case, if it is, it could be that maybe you overstepped your mark a little bit in terms of the risks that you took with regards to your money, and you have to dial back a bit. But I feel that this is favorable energy for a love relationship of any sort. And maybe this is just for some folks is going to see the progression of a love relationship, but that all of a sudden you say, well, wait a minute, I think I'm going too fast here. It's becoming so big so fast, I'm not sure. And so it might be that type of energy where it's, sometimes everything's just so good, you can't believe it's so good. Doesn't mean that it isn't good, by the way. It just means those feelings may come in at this time. Remember, at the beginning of this video, I said this is going to be a very emotional month where a lot of ahas will be happening and just a lot of feelings are going to be on the surface, right? Okay, so when we look at the 30th of August, we've got that final full moon, and it is in Pisces at 6:36 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time, and it is at 7 Pisces 25 minutes. Now, just prior to that moon becoming a full moon, it will be conjunct Saturn. As you recall, Saturn is in Pisces too. And so I think maybe on the 29th, if you've got this sort of indicated in any way in your chart, like say your sun is at this or your ascendant or maybe your midheaven, there may be some authority figure, some rule, some regulation that comes in to say, no, we're going to have to just stop that right now. We're going to have to put a delay on that. And then the next day, maybe you realize that, again, like an aha moment where you say, okay, I know I can't go forward with this right now, but what can I do? And so those sort of machinations may end up going on as well. Because we are going to have Mercury retrograde, but it'll be trining Jupiter. And so this may bring in some, useful thoughts, useful information that may be applicable in the future when, this whole Mercury retrograde goes direct. So I think it supports anything negative that happens with the moon conjunct Saturn. We will have a wide square between Venus and Jupiter. Again, I don't see this as a negative thing. I spoke about that also on the 22nd of August time period. Now, what is interesting, though, with the Venus retrograde is that it will be at the 12-degree mark of Leo. And recall, that is the degree that Venus will be going direct on the 3rd, 4th of September 2023. So I just saw that as another kind of maybe, I'm thinking pieces of information may be coming in, or you attract something in that's important for you to know. The Venus is still retrograde, but because it's actually at that point, Venus is now beginning to think of, I can now move forward with what? With this relationship. With not doing this relationship. With some kind of money situation that you might be in. Or move forward with a new value system. Or move forward with a new you. Where you say, okay, I've taken a few months to figure out how do I want to change my image? How do I think I want to look to be beautiful, to feel beautiful? And so you may be getting that type of thing happening where you can say, okay, in a few days' time, I can pull the trigger on this and show and do what I want to do, right? Now, at this full moon, we have a yod formed as well. But this time, the yod is formed with Uranus and Neptune as anchors, pointing at the south node up there in Libra. And so I saw this as an enlightenment and an inspiration for some folks to let go of a relationship, because we've got it's pointing at Libra. Libra is ruled by Venus. It's all about relationships. But it could also be pointing at changing up and doing something different. Uranus says, let's change this. And Neptune, of course, is the higher octave of Venus. So that's how I saw this yod. I saw this as a very positive yod, that for those folks that maybe want to change up, either the way they do love, the way they've been receiving love, giving love, this could give you a real opportunity to put some of that literally in the past and to move forward. All right, so let's take a little peek at September 2023. So Venus is going to be going direct at 12 degrees on the 3rd, 4th September. And at the same time, Jupiter will go retrograde. We will have Mercury go direct. We have a new moon in Virgo and a full moon in Aries. All right, next I'm going to do individual signs, just a few minutes of your ascendant and or your sun sign, whichever one resonates with you, you should listen to. And maybe it might be good to listen to both your sun sign as well as your ascendant. All right, Scorpio. So the full moon in Aquarius squares your 4th house. And the new moon in Leo also squares you, but it's in the 10th house. So we've got this month of August really aspecting both your home and your career. Now, the positive thing is, Scorpio, is that you will have at the end of the month, the full moon in Pisces, fellow fire sign or water sign, trines you, and it involves your 5th house. So not all is lost. You got some real positive energy coming in towards the end of the month regarding anything to do with love, creative projects, children, starting your own business, that type of thing. That will be more towards the end of the month. You're going to be spending the first part of the month really sorting out some challenges with regards to your home and your career. So the first one, the full moon in Aquarius, squares your 4th house. So that's going to be your home. So something may come up with regards to your home that you need to handle. And it will be unexpected more than likely. You may have some kind of shakeup in the home. Now, this could play out as something as, like, say you are renting, say, with other folks, and a number of people decided they want to leave the house that they've all been sharing, and it's kind of a surprise to you that now you're going to have to scramble to find more people to come in to meet the rent. It could be something like that. It could have also something where, something positive could be that you've been trying so hard to buy a house or to sell your house, and you've been held back, that there's been just so many challenges. And then this final challenge comes in for you, Scorpio, around the full moon, but that's the final challenge. And you say, okay, I'm done. I've got that final thing sorted out with my home, either buying and or selling. It can bring up something in the home. So certainly if you've got issues going on in the home, the family, or whoever you're living with, it could just bring them to light. And again, I always say with squares, think outside the box. Try to involve everyone in the process of sorting out whatever the challenge is, and then just move on. But it's going to be followed by that new moon in Leo squaring your 10th house. So this is then going to feature you having to make a new start, right? A new start with regards to something regarding your career. It could be your social standing too, and your reputation. And I really see this new moon in Leo is not so negative at all, generally speaking. So this could be you're presented with a new start in your career, but you don't necessarily want to do it because you think it's going to be too challenging. Or say you've got to take extra courses or brush up on something that you really don't feel like you'd like to do. I say that this is probably going to turn out for you, Scorpio. Bite the bullet and go with whatever it is that you need to do. But this new start is going to be an important thing for you. Now, as I mentioned, that full moon in Pisces trines your sign. So, and it's the 5th house. So you could, towards the end of the month, have some kind of wonderful thing come in for you with regards to, say, a new love. Children can be involved here too. And your own business, as I mentioned before too. or any creative project, especially if that creative project involves Piscean things. So this is things like music, it's dance, it can be things like sculpture as well. It can also be writing music too. So maybe you'll finish off something regarding some kind of musical type thing. It can be poetry too. That's very creative. But this is a positive end to your month, Scorpio. All right. Take care of yourself, Scorpio. Yourself. Well, that wraps up my look at August astrology. As always, I say you are in the driving seat. I'm just giving you some information that I hope will support you and help you to make decisions that really work for you in your life. Keep cool out there, guys. It seems everywhere is boiling hot or flooding or fires. Yeah. So take care of yourself. I'm sending everyone lots of love, especially with that Venus, even though it's retrograde in Leo, sending lots of heart energy to everyone. Take care and bye for now.